She returned for a while to Glasgow to a mixture of child rearing, songwriting, recording in Kilmarnock at her brother Frank's studio, and acting, notably in the BBC TV comedy drama series Your Cheating Heart, written by John Burnham, based on the country and western scene in Scotland. She memorably describes her songwriting as finding jewels in the junk shop of life. But the lure of London was strong, and she was soon writing songs and recording the albums which form the core of her career's work. The 8th studio album, Peacetime, was released in January this year. In 1995, she was recognised at the Brit Awards again as Best British Female Singer. A punishing schedule of tours and travel took its toll as Eddi struggled to balance her professional life with bringing up her 2 sons, Charlie and Sam. Her mother was a great support in bringing up the children. They were clearly perfectly brought up, as son Charlie has shown a wisdom and maturity beyond his years in applying for and being accepted for the applied music course here at Strathclyde. It's a pleasure to welcome him, his brother Sam, mother, partner John Douglas, and other family and friends to the ceremony today. Eddi's proud of her Scottish roots and has now moved back to Glasgow, just going through the trials of house purchasing, and displays an ingrained, healthy west of Scotland scepticism. Of Holyrood and our MSPs, and perhaps worth bearing in mind for tomorrow, she said, "I come from a place that had a lot of prejudice against my kind. I'll wait and see what they do with the power they may or may not get. If they can still protect our poor and our free museums and our libraries and our education and our elderly and our sick and lonely, then they'll have my vote. I'm not sure that our leaders will care about the ordinary folk of this planet, and there will always be a suspicion in my mind, but I'm extremely proud of my Scottish heritage, and no kind of parliament will take that from me. I carry it with me wherever I go." She approves, too, of the sort of can-do approach that characterises this university. In a recent interview, she said, "I've voted Green all my adult life, in spite of being told my vote was wasted and that I was just some kind of hippie. But if enough people believe in something, you can change the most entrenched mindset. I was sitting recently at a dinner with big businessmen and women who are taking on wave energy and putting tons of money towards developing it. I was honoured to sing to these supermen and superwomen. They're really doing it, fixing the problems. We'll have bioenergy to fuel cars. There are other things I noticed they're developing, working on keeping our old bonny buildings and sorting them out to be more energy efficient. I bet some of our engineers were there who are delivering sustainable energy." But going back to the music, her musical influences are eclectic. Joni Mitchell, Frank Sinatra, Harry Nilsson, Patsy Cline, Edith Piaf, Bob Dylan, and more recently, of course, Robert Burns. When her father died at the end of the 90s, her thoughts returned to her bit of Scotland. She says, "I wanted to do a traditional album that related to the Celtic and Scottish music that I'd heard bits of throughout my life, from leaving school and going to Kilmarnock, through all the folk clubs and the folk festivals to the busking and street singing. It taught me stuff about Scotland I didn't know, the North, Gaelic music, the Celtic tradition and the Gaelic tongue." At that point in her life, much of Scotland, its culture and history, was as foreign and exotic as her first trip to France. Then, almost by chance, fate intervened with the Robert Burns album, which has received rave reviews. The music on the CD was originally a performance project done in connection with members of the Royal Scottish National Orchestra and debuted in January 2003 in Glasgow as part of Celtic Connections. Indeed, she's a regular and welcome performer at that great festival of which Strathclyde is proud to be a part. Eddi has become something of a Burns fanatic, and in a memorable turn of phrase in a radio interview described Mauchline as the Scottish Graceland. As a result of the album, she's met a whole bunch of Scottish musicians, people she'd known over the years but never played with. "It's a different world, the traditional world," she says with a typical grin. "They know a million tunes that I've never heard of, but I love the sound of them. It's brilliant. You can stay up all night in their company and never feel tired. You don't need drink or drugs. It's just tunes and jigs and reels and action and energy and vibe and music and no ego. And it feels great." We're not the first to recognise Eddi's outstanding talents, and we certainly won't be the last. In the 2006 New Year's Honours List, she was awarded the MBE for services to music. But the hard musician's life goes on even after the plaudits. Eddi is briefly at rest in Glasgow this week, but before the end of this month, she's singing in Cornwall, Tokyo, Osaka, Exeter, Carlisle, Boston and Milwaukee. Quite a trip. And so, my Lord and Chancellor, I've tried to outline the reasons for presenting Eddi Reader: a successful career as a musician and singer, a triumphant overcoming of all life's hurdles standing in the way of success, and a sheer and unremitting professionalism. Eddi's rare blend of heartfelt vocals and towering romanticism combine with an astute and pragmatic nature to make her a unique and powerful figure in contemporary British music. She has effortlessly developed into one of popular music's most thrilling and affecting performers. Whilst the perfection of her technique is widely acknowledged, what sets her apart is the depth and quality of the emotional performance, her ability not only to move the listener, but to connect her experience to that of her audience. Her passion and instinct move people in a way reminiscent of those who have influenced her work. And that is the final and overwhelming reason: the sheer compelling beauty of her voice.
If and kiss and then we sever, if there will all last forever, deep in heart-wrung tears I'll pledge thee. Warm sighs and groans I'll wage thee.
My Lord and Chancellor, with the authority of Senate, it is my honour to present to you for the degree of Doctor of the University honoris causa, Sardinia Reader.
I create you Doctor of the University honoris causa. Many congratulations and welcome to the university.
Thank you very much.